Underline.
Underline.
This tragic incident underlines the need for immediate action.
Underling.
Underling.
Underlying.
Underlying.
The underlying causes of her depression.
There is an underlying assumption that younger workers are easier to train.
Undermanned.
Undermanned.
Undermine.
Undermine.
Economic policies that threaten to undermine the healthcare system.
The constant criticism was beginning to undermine her confidence.
Underneath.
Underneath.
He got out of the car and looked underneath.
It's near where the railway goes underneath the road.
She was wearing a smart jacket with a t-shirt underneath.
Her blonde hair was hidden underneath a baseball cap.
The car was rusty underneath.
A number had been painted underneath the table. She seems confident, but she's really quite shy underneath.
I think he's a genuinely nice guy underneath it all.
We need to paint the underneath with a rust preventer.
Undernourished.
Undernourished.
Underpaid.
Underpaid.
Teachers are overworked and underpaid.
Underpants.
Underpants.
Underpass.
Underpass.
Underpay.
Underpay.
Underperform.
Underperform.
Underpin.
Underpin.
The theories that underpin his teaching method.
America's wealth is underpinned by a global system which exploits the world's poor.
Underplay.
Underplay.
She underplays her achievements.
Underprivileged.
Underprivileged.
Underprivileged children.
Underrated.
Underrated.
A much underrated novel.
Under-resourced.
Under-resourced.
Underscore.
Underscore.
Undersea.
Undersea.
Undersea exploration.
Undersecretary.
Undersecretary.
Undersell.
Undersell.
I think he undersold himself at the interview.
Underserved.
Underserved.
The area is underserved for medical care.
Undersexed.
Undersexed.
Undershirt.
Undershirt.
Undershorts.
Undershorts.
Underside.
Underside.
The leaves are green on top and silvery on the underside.
Undersigned.
Undersigned.
Undersized.
Undersized.
Understaffed.
Understaffed.
Understand.
Understand.
She doesn't understand English.
I'm sorry, I don't understand. Can you explain that again? The woman had a strong accent, and I couldn't understand what she was saying. I'm not very good at German, but I can make myself understood.
I don't really understand the political situation in Egypt.
You don't need to understand how computers work to be able to use them.
How the drug works isn't fully understood. I understand that this treatment may not work.
My parents just don't understand me. Just tell him how you feel. I'm sure he'll understand.
I understand how you feel, but I think you're overreacting.
I can understand her wanting to live alone and be independent.
I understand that he was 62 when he died.
It is understood that the Queen approves of her nephew's romance. Dillon's is understood to be reorganizing the company's management structure.
I was given to understand that the property was in good condition.
From childhood, it was understood that your parents would choose your husband.
In this document, children is understood to mean people under 14. Never speak to me like that again. Do you understand?
Understandable.
Understandable.
It is understandable that parents are angry and looking for someone to blame.
He just can't face anyone at the moment, which is perfectly understandable. An understandable mistake. They were understandably upset.
Understanding.
Understanding.
How does this add to our understanding of the problem?
If you know the neighborhood, you have an understanding of what the children are like.
Linguists currently have little understanding of the exact cause of language change.
How can we gain an understanding of other cultures?
Over time, you will get a far better understanding of the job. Success depends on a clear understanding of the problem.
A basic understanding of AIDS prevention.
My father was furious at first, but eventually we came to an understanding.
We had an understanding that Jean-Claude should never be mentioned.
The principal listened to the boy's story with sympathy and understanding.
According to my understanding of the letter, it means something quite different.
Jack lent Sarah the money on the understanding that she would pay it back next month.
Luckily, I have a very understanding boss.
Understate.
Understate.
The press have tended to understate the extent of the problem. Understated.
Understated.
The understated elegance of the Hotel Triano. Understatement.
Understatement.
To say the movie was bad is an understatement.
It wasn't very easy to find the house. That's got to be the understatement of the year. We have not done quite well enough, Macmillan said with characteristic understatement. Understood.
Understood. Understudy.
Understudy.
Undersubscribed.
Undersubscribed.
Undertake.
Undertake.
Dr. Johnson undertook the task of writing a comprehensive English dictionary.
He undertook to pay the money back in 6 months.
Undertaker.
Undertaker.
Undertaking.
Undertaking.
Starting a new business can be a risky undertaking.
Both organisations gave an undertaking to curb violence among their members.
Under the counter.
Under the counter.
Undertone.
Undertone.
There was an undertone of sadness in her letter.
Opponents claim the policy has racist undertones.
Don't be too upset if he doesn't come, said Drew in an undertone.
Undertow.
Undertow.
The dangerous undertow means that swimming is not allowed.
The humour of the novel cannot hide an undertow of sadness.
Underused.
Underused.
Undervalue.
Undervalue.
Society undervalues staying at home and looking after children.
Analysts claim that the firm's assets were undervalued by £300 million.
Underwater.
Underwater.
An underwater camera.
He dived underwater and swam away.
Underway.
Underway.
The project is already well underway.
Your peace will be shattered when the tourist season gets underway.
Underwear.
Underwear.
You just need to take a change of underwear.
Underweight.
Underweight.
Women who smoke risk giving birth to underweight babies.
Underwent.
Underwent.
Underwhelm.
Underwhelm.
We were underwhelmed by the latest version of the software.
Underworld.
Underworld.
New York's criminal underworld.
Underwrite.
Underwrite.
The government has agreed to underwrite the project with a grant of £5 million.
Underwriter.
Underwriter.
Undeserved.
Undeserved.
She had an undeserved reputation for rudeness.
Undesirable.
Undesirable.
The drug may have other undesirable effects.
Punishment of undesirable behaviour.
Security measures to keep out undesirables.
Undetected.
Undetected.
Doctors can make mistakes and diseases can remain undetected.
The thieves escaped undetected through a basement window.
Undeterred.
Undeterred.
Undeterred by his early failures, he decided to keep writing.
Undeveloped.
Undeveloped.
An undeveloped stretch of coastline.
The undeveloped regions of the world.
A child's undeveloped mind.
Undid.
Undid.
Undies.
Undies.
Undifferentiated.
Undifferentiated.
Shows aimed at large, undifferentiated groups of people.
Colonial officials tended to see Indian society as an undifferentiated whole.
Undignified.
Undignified.
There was an undignified scramble for the free drinks.
Undiluted.
Undiluted.
Undiluted joy.
Undiluted fruit juice.
Undiminished.
Undiminished.
Neil continued with undiminished enthusiasm.
40 years on, the book's power to shock is undiminished.
Undischarged.
Undischarged.
Undisclosed.
Undisclosed.
Developers have agreed to buy the site for an undisclosed sum.
Undiscriminating.
Undiscriminating.
Undisguised.
Undisguised.
There was undisguised contempt in his voice.
Undismayed.
Undismayed.
Undisputed.
Undisputed.
Doctors found undisputed evidence of nerve damage. The undisputed world heavyweight champion.
Undisturbed.
Undisturbed.
At last I was able to work undisturbed.
The land is to be left undisturbed as a nature reserve.
Mark seemed undisturbed by her threats.
Undivided.
Undivided.
I'll give the matter my undivided attention.
An undivided country.
Undo.
Undo.
The screws can be undone by hand.
I undid the package carefully.
He undid his coat.
We cannot undo the damage of a lifetime in only 30 days.
If a medicine is taken again too soon, it may undo all the good that has been done.
Undoing.
Undoing.
In the end, drink was his undoing.
Undone.
Undone.
Your zip's undone.
One of these buttons has come undone.
The washing up had been left undone.
In the end, Othello is undone by his jealousy.
Undoubted.
Undoubted.
Her undoubted talent.
The film was an undoubted success.
Undoubtedly.
Undoubtedly.
That is undoubtedly true.
Undoubtedly, public interest in folk music has declined.
Undreamed of.
Undreamed of.
Undreamt of success.
Men were becoming interested in fashion on a scale undreamed of in the 1960s.
Undress.
Undress.
Matt undressed and got into bed.
Joe still needs an adult to undress him.
Cindy was wandering about her room in a state of undress.
Undressed.
Undressed.
He started to get undressed.
Undo.
Undo.
De Gaulle felt that America had undue influence in Europe.
Exercise gently and avoid putting yourself under undue strain.
The kick should be taken without undue delay.
Undulate.
Undulate.
Undulating hills.
Unduly.
Unduly.
She doesn't seem unduly concerned about her exams.
It didn't trouble me unduly.
Undying.
Undying.
They declared their undying love for each other.
Unearned.
Unearned.
Unearth.
Unearth.
Farmers still sometimes unearth human bones here.
In one shop, I unearthed a wonderful collection of 1920s toys.
The inquiry unearthed some disturbing evidence.
Unearthly.
Unearthly.
His eyes shone with an unearthly light.
He suggested a meeting at some unearthly hour of the morning.
Unease.
Unease.
As she neared the door, Amy felt a growing sense of unease.
Public unease about defence policy.
Uneasy.
Uneasy.
90% of those questioned felt uneasy about nuclear power.
The treaty restored an uneasy peace to the country.
She eventually fell into an uneasy sleep.
Bill shifted uneasily in his chair.
Charles's concern for the environment sits uneasily with his collection of powerful cars.
Uneatable.
Uneatable.
Uneaten.
Uneaten.
I had to throw away the uneaten food.
Uneconomic.
Uneconomic.
The closure of uneconomic industries.
Uneconomical.
Uneconomical.
Old vehicles are often uneconomical.
Unedifying.
Unedifying.
The unedifying spectacle of players attacking the referee.
Uneducated.
Uneducated.
A largely uneducated workforce.
Unelected.
Unelected.
Unemotional.
Unemotional.
His voice was unemotional.
Zoe is normally an unemotional person.
Unemployable.
Unemployable.
Unemployed.
Unemployed.
An unemployed actor.
I've only been unemployed for a few weeks.
A retraining scheme for the long-term unemployed.
Unemployment.
Unemployment.
A town where there is high unemployment.
Closure of the plant means 80 workers are facing unemployment.
He's been on unemployment for 2 months.
Unemployment benefit.
Unemployment benefit.
People on unemployment benefit.
Unending.
Unending.
An unending stream of people.
Unendurable.
Unendurable.
The pain was unendurable.
Unenviable.
Unenviable.
The unenviable task of informing the victim's relations.
Edward III was in a delicate and unenviable position.
Unequal.
Unequal.
An unequal contest.
The unequal distribution of wealth.
2 rooms of unequal size.
The pieces were unequal in length.
Unequaled.
Unequaled.
The hotel has a range of facilities unequaled in the city.
Unequivocal.
Unequivocal.
His answer was an unequivocal no.
Unerring.
Unerring.
He passes the ball with unerring accuracy.
Unethical.
Unethical.
Unethical medical practices.
Uneven.
Uneven.
She walked back carefully over the uneven ground.
His breathing had become uneven.
Uneven rates of development.
An uneven distribution of resources.
An uneven performance.
Uneventful.
Uneventful.
Annie led a quiet, uneventful life. The journey was uneventful.
Unexciting.
Unexciting.
After Tokyo, Okinawa seemed unexciting at first.
Unexpected.
Unexpected.
The experiment produced some unexpected results.
Her death was totally unexpected.
Haig's announcement was not entirely unexpected.
His father died unexpectedly.
Unexplained.
Unexplained.
Patients with unexplained symptoms.
For some unexplained reason, he wants to move to Ipswich.
Unexplained.
Unexploded.
Unexploded.
Unexplored. Unexplored.
Unexplored planets.
The study looks at a relatively unexplored area of human relationships.
Unexpurgated.
Unexpurgated.
Unfailing.
Unfailing.
I'd like to thank you all for your unfailing support.
She battled against cancer with unfailing good humour.
The staff are unfailingly polite.
Unfair.
Unfair.
An unfair advantage.
Laws aimed at preventing unfair competition.
Many employers have recognized that age discrimination is unfair.
She won £20,000 for unfair dismissal.
Mrs. Taylor believes her son has been unfairly treated.
The tribunal decided that Mr. Matthews had been unfairly dismissed.
Unfaithful.
Unfaithful.
Jeff had been unfaithful to her on many occasions.
Unfaltering.
Unfaltering.
Unfaltering confidence.
Unfamiliar.
Unfamiliar.
She stood on deck to gaze at the unfamiliar surroundings. A crowd of unfamiliar faces.
Some of the technical vocabulary may be unfamiliar to you.
We were unfamiliar with the neighbourhood.
Unfashionable.
Unfashionable.
Unfashionable clothes.
Unfasten.
Unfasten.
He unfastened the top button of his shirt.
Unfathomable.
Unfathomable.
Unfavourable.
Unfavourable.
Unfavourable circumstances. Unfavourable reviews.
Unfavourable publicity.
Careless spelling mistakes in a letter can create an unfavourable impression.
Unfazed.
Unfazed.
The Prime Minister appeared to be totally unfazed by the protesters.
Unfeeling.
Unfeeling.
Dave had been quite wrong to call Michelle cold and unfeeling.
Unfettered.
Unfettered.
Unfettered economic activity.
Unfilled.
Unfilled.
Unfilled vacancies.
Unfinished.
Unfinished.
Rachel left her meal unfinished.
Unfit.
Unfit.
She never gets any exercise. She must be really unfit.
Jenkins is unfit for public office. The meat was declared unfit for human consumption.
The house was unfit for human habitation.
Hubbard was declared mentally unfit to stand trial.
Unflagging.
Unflagging.
His unflagging energy.
Unflappable.
Unflappable.
Unflattering.
Unflattering.
An unflattering portrait.
Unflinching.
Unflinching.
Unflinching courage.
Unfocused.
Unfocused.
The discussion was becoming unfocused.
He gave her an unfocused look.
Unfold.
Unfold.
As the story unfolds, we learn more about Max's childhood.
He had watched the drama unfold from a nearby ship.
He unfolded the map.
Unfollow.
Unfollow.
Unforeseeable.
Unforeseeable.
Unforeseeable danger.
Unforeseen.
Unforeseen.
Due to unforeseen circumstances, the play has been cancelled. Unforeseen delays in supplying the equipment.
Unforgettable.
Unforgettable.
A visit to Morocco is a truly unforgettable experience.
Unforgivable.
Unforgivable.
Patrick had deceived her, and that was unforgivable.
The unforgivable sin of informing on your friends.
Unforgiving.
Unforgiving.
Unformed.
Unformed.
The unformed mind of a child.
Unfortunate.
Unfortunate.
When we entered the room, the teacher was yelling at some unfortunate student.
An unfortunate turn of events.
He has an unfortunate habit of repeating himself.
It's unfortunate that so few people seem willing to help.
It's most unfortunate that your father can't come to the wedding. An unfortunate accident.
An unfortunate choice of words.
Unfortunately.
Unfortunately.
Unfortunately, you were out when we called.
Unfounded.
Unfounded.
Unfounded rumours began circulating that Ian and Susan were having an affair.
Sadly, my optimism proved unfounded.
Unfrequented.
Unfrequented.
An unfrequented spot.
Unfriend. Unfriend. I don't know why he unfriended me.
Unfriendly.
Unfriendly.
The old man looked cross and unfriendly.
A lonely, unfriendly place.
The villagers were really quite unfriendly towards us.
We have created cities that are unfriendly to pedestrians.
Unfrock.
Unfrock.
Unfulfilled.
Unfulfilled.
His dream of competing in the Olympics remained unfulfilled.
Her job left her feeling unfulfilled and unappreciated.
Unfunny.
Unfunny.
Unfurl.
Unfurl.
Unfurnished.
Unfurnished.
Ungainly.
Ungainly.
A tall, ungainly teenager.
Unglued.
Unglued.
When his parents got divorced, his whole world came unglued. If someone talked to me like that, I would just come unglued.
Unguarded.
Unguarded.
In an unguarded moment, he admitted that he wanted to quit his job.